Please welcome the one and only Issa Rae. Oh my gosh. Listen. Have a seat, Tam fam. She's here for the hour. And thank you for that. That is a big deal because you're very busy.
Oh, man, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. You look gorgeous as always.
I think this is the first live interview you've done since you broke the internet with the wedding pictures.
Yeah, it might be. My photo shoot. Yes, my photo shoot. Thank you.
For those who don't know, Issa went on social media, and I think the tweet said something to effect of, you found a Vera Wang dress. Your friends all happened to have the same dress, and you were in the south of France.
Yeah, it's a big coincidence.
A big coincidence.
Yeah, crazy.
So I held my pregnancy for 32 weeks. I didn't tell anyone. And the only reason I went public with my pregnancy is because a tabloid called and said, "We know you're pregnant." And people said, "Why are you so secretive?" And I said, "I'm not secretive, I'm private." And there's a difference.
Yeah.
You've been incredibly private, but you shared that moment.
I think I had a similar moment. You know, honestly, I was supposed to do this in 2020, and then, you know, things were different at that time. And I worked with Vera Wang, who were really great, and they wanted to post a photo. And at the time, I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. And then later, you know, I was like, oh, they're gonna post a photo before me. Like, let me tell it my way, in the best way I know how. And then that's kind of that's the only reason that I let it go.
Because you wanted to
tell
your story.
I wanted to release the photo my way first without having, you know, them release it. It was great to work with them and everything, but I knew that a picture was gonna get out. And of course, there were publications calling as well, so.
How hard was it to keep a secret like that?
It wasn't a secret. You know, people who knew. It was just,
we just weren't invited.
Really
the rest of us weren't invited. So, Tam, it was a secret because we didn't get the invitation.
You know.
Did you tell folks who were coming, like Yvonne was there, did you tell them, I'm getting married today?
Of course, everybody who was invited knew what was going down. So there was no, like, big keep it under wraps. I mean, I did say, like, hey, like, can y'all just keep this on the low? I'm not, like, announcing anything. And so they were like, cool. And then the pictures came out. That's it.
The pictures are stunning. It looked like a fairy tale. You married, it's Louis?
You know, it might be.
Well, you married this handsome man who was standing alongside of you, coincidentally in a red suit. His name is Louis. I won't tell his last name, but he's the one.
I publicly claimed the man. That's what I
publicly claimed him. So were you nervous, at least, when you were walking down? You seem unflappable. We were behind stage just now. I'm helping her with her mic. I'm just going to pull the curtain back. There I am, last minute, 90 seconds, helping you. You're helping me. You seem unflappable. When you walked down that aisle, though, was it butterflies? How did it feel to be the bride and not the bridesmaid or the friend in the audience?
You know, it was just a beautiful experience. People tell you that it goes by fast, and they're right, you know. But my thing was, like, it was a party at the end of the day. It was just a big party, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm really blessed. I feel so blessed to be surrounded by people who took the time out to just come and celebrate, and that was, you know, that's something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
Today we're celebrating all things Issa Rae, and we just heard from some fans who are anxiously awaiting the start of the iconic show's 5th and final season. That is this Sunday, October 24th on HBO. How does it feel to keep hearing that?
I'm just really excited for people to see it, and I'm excited that we're in a celebratory state for the show, you know, because when it's on, it's a whole different level. But lots of people have opinions, you know, so I think I'm just excited that people are excited and anticipating it.
Why now?
Why now? Because, you know, I knew since season 1 that I wanted to end the show. Princess and I talked about it from jump. 5 seasons to tell a concise story, without like dragging it out felt right to me, just on a creative level, and knowing where I wanted to take these characters, it felt like enough time. And then also just like socially, you know, it's a lot. I'm very conscious of people giving their time to the show. And 5 years is a lot of time, and 6 years for some of us. And, you know, from the writers to the crew to the actors, I knew, I'm like, we're gonna get tired of each other after maybe 4 years, 5 years. So let's cut it short while we still love each other, and we do. We love each other so much.
Okay, I gotta tell you though. So you're creating this show. It's an internet sensation, and then you finally get the show picked up. In your mind, it's one thing to say, okay, 5 seasons, I'm done. But then the show takes off, and people love it, and they fall in love with the characters, and they see themselves. Did you feel like, I have a responsibility to keep going, or end while it's high and do something else?
That part, and while it's high, like I don't feel, my mom was always like, never overstay your welcome. And I live by that, you know, at parties, I don't want to be like, you still here? Like, that's not the vibe I want, and I don't want that for the show either. So I'm just appreciative that people are gonna miss it, and you know, I hope that's still true when it ends.
Well, you invited, was it 1.5 million people that follow you on Twitter to come to Insecure watch parties for seasons 1 through 4 to get ready for the end. I mean, you're hurting us, because it's like, I did that from home. I'd watch, me and my best friend Sonia, who's in Texas, we're like, okay, we gotta watch everything again. And it was emotional. And I did feel, I felt it was too soon to say goodbye.
I mean, it's time, but even that was so, like, I watched it with, you know, the people who came to watch seasons 1 through 4, and it was just, it was emotional. It felt nostalgic. I was sitting next to Prentice. Yvonne came to some, Sharonis, and it was just so much fun to reminisce and see how far we've come and how far we've grown.
What was it like watching those fans react to it, even though they'd seen it over and over and over and going through that journey?
I mean, it was great. I got to watch people love something I made. Like, that was a surreal feeling. And, you know, in some of the screenings, they were interacting with the screen, anticipating what was coming. And I just had never gotten that experience to, like, you know, watch the show with people. And even last season, season 4, normally every season we get to have a premiere. And obviously because of the pandemic, we didn't get to do that. And so to watch season 4 with a crowd and see them react live to the Issa and Lawrence reconnecting episode was absolutely amazing.
All right, we got to get the scoop on that. Well, the final season kicks off with one of the mirror talks we've loved, and this is you talking to your younger self. You got a mouthful of braces, looking back. Take a look.
And we got our braces off? Let me see them teeth. Let me see them teeth. Let me see them teeth. Show me how you eat. We stupid.
You know, I say I love the mirror talks because I tell myself all the time when I look in the mirror, I want to see my 7-year-old self. Because that was the kid from Luling, Texas, you know, single mom, underdog, and that's the most fearless I've ever been. When you did those mirror talks, or do you do them at home on your own?
I do not talk to myself in the mirror. I don't.
Okay, so I'm the only one talking about thank you.
I do affirmations sometimes, but I don't do that.
Well, why do you think,
so
let me ask you, why do you think those mirror talks resonated with people?
I think because they are, like, for me, one of the things that does resonate with me about the bathroom scenes are that's when I'm the most raw. That's when I really have time for myself. There are no devices in my bathroom. Like, I'm just centered, and I prepare myself for the day, whether that's just looking at myself and thinking about, like, what I'm gonna accomplish. I think about, you know, I literally reflect. And I think people may resonate with these because she is being honest with herself. She's talking to herself. She's pumping herself up. And I think that that's something that on any level that we do as humans.
You've been honest with the fans of the show recently. You did an interview where you said that you were advised to include at least one white character in your cast to bridge the gap for white audiences. But after 3 seasons, you abandoned that advice because from the beginning, it sounds like knew very much so who you needed and wanted to speak to. And that didn't mean alienating people.
Yeah, and that was, I have to clarify, like that was advice that I got from my web series that ended up actually working. Like people were like, you should put a white character in there. And I was like, what? And then, white people started watching and we got on NPR and things like that. And I think as Black creators, we are advised sometimes to give viewers, mainstream viewers, a way in via white characters. And, with Insecure, it was set in a white nonprofit world. Like, she was the only one. But I think what was refreshing is over time, as we told this story, we got to, when she quit, we got to just be a solely Black show with a Black lens, with Black characters, and that felt so refreshing.
I was looking back at your life. You graduated from Stanford. You didn't have a job. You moved back home. I'm going through all the bad memories.
All right.
You moved back home with your parents, and then you moved into an apartment similar to the one on the show. When you look back at this evolution, how do you, the great writer that you are, describe it?
Necessary. I think I've been an impulsive, impatient person. And for me, I had expectations of, I remember saying at 19, like, I'm gonna get an Oscar by 21. And I didn't have a script, I didn't have anything, but it was just like, setting these ambitious goals without necessarily putting the full work in.
Where did that come from?
I think just seeing it happen for other people. I remember seeing Matt Damon and Ben Affleck win and being like, with my writing partner in college at the time, like, that's gonna be us, girl. And I don't know, there's just these expectations that, like, when you're younger, that you should just have it. And I'm so glad that this did not happen for me when I was younger, because I just wouldn't know how to handle it. I would be out here hoeing. Like, I would just be a different person in these streets. And I'm so glad that I'm like, settled with the...
So it happened when you were ready.
It happened when I was ready, yes.
Or able to handle it.
Able to handle it, but also ready and put in the work, and I could be focused on that without being focused on anything else. Like, I'm very focused on the work of it.
You talk about, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, Good Will Hunting. They were able to get that script and all of the things that came with it. You had to go a different route, which was creating your own with the internet.
Right.
If that option were not available, do you think this project would have ever ended up on a network like HBO?
No, I don't see how. I tried. I tried to do it the traditional way. I was advised to write spec scripts, which I did, and, create a script. But it's honestly hard to break into this industry. And the internet leveled the playing field for me, because I could get the same eyeballs from people who were watching television shows and who were, heralding the misadventures of Awkward Black Girl and making it feel like a television experience and spreading the word about it. And that's what validated my voice, my writing, for networks to reach out ultimately to say, hey, what else do you have? So I would not be here without the internet.